Welcome back to Baltimore, where the word balmy seems to be kind of shortchanging Mother Nature. It is a nice, comfortable 63 degrees and cloudy. Down to the sideline, and Jamie Erdahl. Jamie.
Greg, we take a look back at the path Ryan Mallett took to get here. His 7th career start, his first with the Baltimore Ravens. He last completed a pass back on October 8th. That was with the Houston Texans. He was cut by them later that month, not signed again until 12 days ago with the Baltimore Ravens. Head coach John Harbaugh said he had some personal things to work through, which is understandable why Mallett was so grateful for the opportunity and the support the Ravens have shown him both on and off the field leading up to today. Greg.
All right, Jamie, and we will have to wait a while, as will Ryan Mallett, for his first shot on offense, because the Ravens have won the toss and they have deferred, which means Mike Tomlin's Pittsburgh offense will get first crack at things. John Harbaugh in his 8th year here in Baltimore as the head coach, and 9-9 all time against the Steelers. Back deep is Marcus Wheaton for Pittsburgh, and we're underway. He will not return this one out of the end zone. The touchback means Pittsburgh will get started at their own 20-yard line, and Ben Roethlisberger at the helm of an offensive juggernaut. The Steelers have won 3 straight, 5 of their last 6, and have scored 30 or more points each of their last 6 games. That's like a wonderful dream for a quarterback, Trent.
It's incredible numbers that Roethlisberger has been able to put up in leading this offense. And just think what this offense would be doing record-wise if he didn't miss 4 games earlier this season.
Yeah, Roethlisberger playing in his 11th game, his 10th start of the season. He's lost his last 3 games here in Baltimore. On first down, it is DeAngelo Williams, and DeAngelo Williams up the middle and breaking through for, looks like about 9.5 yards, just short of a first down on the offensive line. 4th-year right guard David DeCastro, 4th year out of Stanford, named to the Pro Bowl this week. And at wide receiver, fellow Pro Bowler Antonio Brown leading league in receiving yards, combined yards, yards from scrimmage, and just about everything else you can imagine on offense.
Such a versatile weapon, so many different ways he can attack. You can give him the ball on a rounds. Obviously, his route running is something you have to keep an eye on today, especially if the Ravens decide to go one-on-one with him.
Second and short yardage, DeAngelo Williams gets the first down as he crosses the 30 and winds his way out across the 35 to about the 36. In the middle of the Baltimore defense, Brandon Williams, 6'1", 335, looking to slow that Pittsburgh ground game. Among the linebackers, number 58, Elvis Dumervil, a team-leading 6 sacks this season, 96 for his career. And the veteran in a secondary that has to clamp down on the Pittsburgh aerial attack is 7th-year quarterback Lardarius Webb. Steelers from their own 36. And to the ground once again, and DeAngelo Williams with running room across midfield, down the sideline and out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. Will Hill pushed him out, but not before a pickup of 30 yards and another. Steeler first down and all on the ground, Trent.
Well, the Ravens defensively have decided that either the respect or the fear factor, going with a cover 2 deep safeties. Ben Roethlisberger recognizing that, and as you said, Greg, 3 straight plays running the football. If you're going to stay in a 2 deep, you don't have those guys down in the box to make the tackles. The Steelers are going to run the ball and attack with their physical linemen.
3 rushes, 46 yards total. Fitzgerald Toussaint in at running back now for Pittsburgh.
Now the Ravens drop an extra secondary player down into the box, and Roethlisberger recognizes it.
And Toussaint with about 5 inside the 30 to about the 29. Kind of the element of surprise if you're looking for a guy who leads everything in aerial attacks and run the football.
Well, and that's the thing. Todd Haley comes up with the concept of, you know what, we're going to attack you different ways. You expect us to come in here and put the ball up in the air and throw it all over the field. Well, guess what? We're going to be physical, and if you're going to play that type of defense, we're going to use our linemen and push it on the ground.
Pick up a 5, makes it 2nd and 5. Toussaint still in the backfield for Pittsburgh. Going to give it to him again. Not as big a pickup, maybe to the 27-yard line. Brought down by Lawrence Guy. You know, talking with head coach John Harbaugh of the Ravens. he doesn't like this idea of, well, we're hurt and we're beat up and we really don't have a chance. He says his guys have been practicing hard, not just this week, every week.
Well, and that's the attitude head coaches have to have. They have to send that message to the team. You can't use injuries as excuses. You talk to head coaches around the league, they all say the same thing. On 3rd and medium here, anticipate a pass, especially with an empty backfield.
3 tight ends on the field for the Steelers. Play clock down to 2, down to 1. And they got the snap off and the quick pass is complete. And at the 25-yard line, Jesse James is brought to a stop short of the first down. And what does Mike Tomlin do here?
Well, I would think he's going to go for it just to send the message. He has so much confidence in his offense. And that's exactly what it looks like he's going to do. DeAngelo Williams coming into the game.
Fourth and less than a yard. Miller and Spaeth, the tight end. Williams didn't get there. And the ball goes over on downs to the Ravens.
You know when you take those chances, Greg, is when you have so much confidence in your offense. Yes, you have confidence in your defense is going to come out and be able to make a stop after going for it on 4th down. But having that much confidence in your offense, Upshaw and Smith coming up with the big tackle.
Drive comes to nothing for the Steelers, and Baltimore takes over on downs. Back in Baltimore, Ryan Mallett, starting at quarterback for the Ravens. Started the season with the Houston Texans. Been a Raven for less than 2 weeks and going into battle today against the Steelers. From their own 25, and they'll start on the ground too with Javoris Allen out just across the 30-yard line. Up front for Baltimore, the veteran right guard Marshall Yanda in his 9th year, just voted to his 5th Pro Bowl. And the backs and the receivers, Kamar Aiken, a terrific 3rd-year wide receiver who caught 8 balls for 128 yards in the loss to Kansas City last week. On 2nd and 4, it's Allen again. And Allen down and then some, out to the 40-yard line and a first down.
Well, Greg, this is going to be very important for Ryan Mallett. If they can run the football, you're not putting all that pressure. As a little scuffle breaks out, which isn't anything rare in this rivalry. But Ryan Mallett, if you can have the balance of the running game, this is 2 runs in a row, being able to pick up the first down. The Steelers defensively don't rank very high in total yardage, but they are 5th in the NFL, only giving up 90 yards a game on the ground.
Mallett to throw on the outside. That is complete, and close to midfield is Kamar Aiken. The Pittsburgh 3-4 defense. Number 97, Cameron Hayward, the team sack leader. 7 of the 40 racked up by the Steelers. Among the linebackers, Bud Dupree, the first-round draft pick out of Kentucky. Coach Mike Tomlin says he's beginning to find his way. And at cornerback, how about number 22, William Gay? He's returned the last 5 passes he's intercepted for a touchdown. This is Terrence West. And West with very little as he crosses midfield and into Pittsburgh territory, where Cameron Hayward and Will Allen make the stop. It's been an interesting season for Ryan Mallett, to say the very least. Right?
Well, the competition that started off in Houston with he and Brian Hoyer, and Hoyer being named the starter for week 1. Ultimately, Mallett going in and being named the starter for week 2. So he had 6 games where he played down there and then was released. So getting a fresh opportunity here in Baltimore.
Allen again is not good at all, as he is brought to a halt at about the line of scrimmage, or the 49-yard line. Ryan Shazier leading the charge for the Steelers.
Well, and this is what the Steelers want to get Mallett into. They want to get him into an obvious passing situation, a 3rd and long where they can bring pressure. They've been able to get 40 sacks on the season from 14 different players, so they're finding ways to pressure the quarterback.
Beaver! Check.
Plenty of time on the play clock. Mallett throwing up the seam, and he's got his man Jeremy Butler for a first down inside the 35 to the 33-yard line.
Well, that's an excellent throw by Mallett, recognizing the coverage and hitting the zone. This is one thing you know he has, is a strong arm. Timmons getting caught inside, following the inside receiver, following Aiken up the slot, allowing Butler to get open in the crease.
Spot!
On first down, they'll go once again to Allen. Allen shaking tackles at the line of scrimmage and ducks inside the 30 to the Pittsburgh 29-yard line. You know, how do you expect to get any continuity going when you put this many guys under center over the course of a season?
And I know Coach Harbaugh talks about, I don't want to make injuries as an excuse, but especially at your top position, you have that many starters. It's hard to get in any kind of rhythm. And what's been impressive about this first drive is Mallett's only had 12 days in this system. So far putting together a good day.
What's up?
Allen once again tripped up, only good for about a yard this time. Jarvis Jones responsible for the tackle. This Baltimore offense has only managed one touchdown on an opening drive all season long.
And back to Mallett, the impressive thing on that third down, he was changing the play at the line of scrimmage, and here they're going to more of an up-tempo. So getting to the line of scrimmage and letting him look at the defense and check to the play he thinks is going to work best.
3rd and 5. Getting rid of it quickly, and that pass is complete to Kamar Aiken once again. And Aiken still on his feet, gets enough for the first down before Cameron Hayward makes the stop.
Greg, I want you to notice on this replay, Aiken gets open in the slot. Yes, it's an accurate throw. But watch this, he gets knocked backward. Oh, I'm going to move my hand up, adjust my face mask, and then take off and go get the first down. So keeping his composure, understanding where the sticks are. Accurate throw from Mallett.
So the Ravens now at the Pittsburgh 22. Mallett 3 out of 3 throwing for 32 yards. This is the 10th play of this drive. Under pressure and got rid of it.
Well, they're looking for an intentional grounding, but Allen was right in the vicinity. See Allen trying to get the block on Will Allen.
And now the flag has been thrown. Our referee today is Craig Rolstad.
Intentional grounding. Offense, quarterback. The ball in place. 10 yards. Loss of down. 2nd down.
See, and I think Javaris Allen is in the vicinity there. He tries to chop Will Allen. The throw goes in that direction. I know he's not trying to make that completion, but there is a receiver in the area.
Not close enough, according to the officials. So it's 2nd and 20, the penalty plus the loss of down. Now from the 32-yard line. West on the draw. West with running room inside the 20 to about the 17-yard line. Mike Mitchell and Will Allen, the Pittsburgh safeties, with the tackle. 15-yard pickup makes it 3rd and 5.
Well, now Keith Butler, the defensive coordinator for the Steelers, has to decide how are they going to attack him on 3rd down. Mallett and the Ravens have been able to convert a couple 3rd downs. You decide to bring pressure and not give him much time, or you drop back in coverage and try to prevent from getting to the sticks.
Mallett needs the 12-yard line for a Baltimore first down. Another quick pass, and that's complete to the tight end, Max Williams. Forward progress marked at the 10, and that'll be a first down. First thing that strikes me, Trent, is can Ryan Mallett find anything better for him than a good ground game today?
You know, this has been an incredible mix for the Ravens. Great way to start for the Ravens offensively. Even better way to start for Ryan Mallett. As you said, Greg, having that balance with the run game. He's been under control with the underneath passes and hit the seams when he needs to.
This is West. For a couple to about the 8, Stephon Tuitt, the 2nd-year defensive end out of Notre Dame, with the stop. This Pittsburgh defense stingy as far as allowing rushing touchdowns. Just 5 of them allowed all season long. That's the 2nd best in the NFL, behind the 2 allowed by the New York Jets.
Going empty backfield here.
Mallett, quick slant inside the 5, incomplete, intended for Williams, the tight end.
Boykin on the coverage on Williams. You hear the crowd react, looking for a pass interference. You see that right hand wrapped around the waist, knocking the ball away. Watch that offhand. Looks like it's timed pretty well. Good call by the officials.
3rd and goal. Just a 3-man rush, throwing to the end zone, touchdown! Chris Matthews on the receiving end. That's his first touchdown of the season, and the first thrown by Ryan Mallett as a member of the Ravens.
What an impressive drive by the Ravens offensively, especially the composure that Mallett showed, checking out of plays on several occasions, accurate throws. Touchdown pass to Chris Williams. Mike Mitchell on the backside, the safety tries to come over and get a hand on it, but just placed too high where only Matthews can get it on the back line.
Baltimore converted 4 third downs on that drive. Justin Tucker, who's been a perfect 26 out of 26 in extra point attempts this season. Is good once again. Chris Matthews, his first touchdown catch. And the Ravens are up 7-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Amazon Fire TV, change the way you TV. And by the Acura Oh What Fun It Is to Drive event.
This is the Edgar Allan Poe House here in Baltimore. The Ravens named for Poe's 1845 poem, The Raven. Nevermore. Marcus Wheaton will not get a chance to run this one out. And once again, the touchback means the Steelers start from their own 20-yard line. Ryan Mallett, TD pass, 7-0. Baltimore. A look at 2 of the 32 Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year nominees. Steelers defensive end Cameron Hayward's been heavily involved with kids in the child welfare system, while the Ravens injured wide receiver Steve Smith Sr. began the Athletes United for Youth charity and mentors at-risk teams. You can see who will win that award at the NFL Honors from San Francisco here on CBS on February the 6th. On first down from the 20. Roethlisberger handing off to Williams, and Williams with a couple. Steve Smith, by the way, did you see his celebrity appearance on the NFL today? Earlier. And quiet as usual. He's so shy.
That's right. Well, he had the walking boot on. You see it right there? He's doing all right. He did a nice job.
Pickup of 2 makes it 2nd and 8. Fans are wondering, where is the Pittsburgh offense they've heard so much about? The aerial attack. Quick pass to the far side. This is Brown. Brown runs out of running room.
Well, I think that has been a little bit of a surprise. The first series, they ran the ball so effectively and got down, and then Baltimore obviously stopped them on 4th down near the 20-yard line. Now coming out running on 1st down again, going short pass to Antonio Brown. At some point in time, the Steelers are going to push the ball up the field. It just depends. Are they trying to set up the play-action pass, or are they trying to create seams in the coverage?
Crowd comes alive on 3rd and 7. Roethlisberger, this side of the field, what a grab by Antonio Brown. And he is out of bounds at about the 49-yard line. Right on the money, Roethlisberger hit him as he came out of his break.
See the right side of your screen, Antonio Brown is just doing a corner route or an out route. Tremendous job catching the ball. That ball gets right on top. You see the change release that goes off the ball. That's a tough catch. That ball was already past him when he reached up and was able to bring it in. incredible hands by Antonio Brown.
27-yard pickup gives the Steelers a first down at their own 49. Williams into Baltimore territory and to the 40 for a first down. Our first NFL Today update of the day. JB and Bart.
All right, going back home. Indianapolis trying to keep their playoff hopes alive, and Frank Gore putting on a show in front of his hometown of Miami as he takes it in 37 yards for the score, breaking tackles along the way. Indianapolis up 7-0, 8-0.
Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, and Jamie Erdahl.
All right, guys, thank you. Look at the AFC South end of what's at stake, and almost everybody still alive. First down, Pittsburgh. Here's the reverse. This is Bryant coming around the near side and out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. Hey, you thought your fantasy season was over? It is not. Play for free, and you could win a trip to Super Bowl 51 in 2017. Join today at NFL.com/playoff challenge. That's right, Trent, you can begin making your plans for Super Bowl 51.
Oh, 50's coming up. It's going to be exciting right here on CBS.
Pittsburgh been able to run the ball very well today. They've only put it up 3 times in 12 snaps. On 2nd and 6, on the ground again. D'Angelo Williams with running room, 25 to the 20-yard line. All right, at some point, you have to ask the question, why are they being so successful running the football today?
Well, a lot of it has to do with what the Ravens are doing defensively. They're staying in a 2 deep where the 2 safeties are back deep. When you have that, you're leaving less guys in the box. So the offensive line is doing a good job of pushing the pile. D'Angelo Williams is being effective, already 76 yards rushing on 7 carries. So they're going to keep doing it. And to take
who apparently is going to sleep really well tonight. Well, that's already his 8th carry of the day.
And sorry about that, Greg, but just to finish the thought, that, you know, this offense is so explosive, and they've been putting up so many points throughout especially this last 6-7 game stretch. So don't let them get the big plays over the top. Make them work for their drives. Make them work for their points. And that's what the Ravens have done here in the first quarter.
First quarter is done. Pittsburgh running the ball well, but it's Baltimore on top, 7-0. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Crunchwrap Sliders, 4 full-size flavors only at Taco Bell. And by New York Life, here to help you keep good going.
Welcome back to Baltimore as we begin the start of the second quarter. The Ravens with a 7-0 lead. Steelers at the Ravens' 15-yard line on 2nd and 6. Make it the 16-yard line. And Roethlisberger throwing down the sideline as a man caught. Is he inbound? Touchdown, Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown lined up in the slot, just going to be a change release with he and Bryant just doing a wheel route to the outside. Catching the Ravens safety middle, man-to-man underneath. Roethlisberger dials it in. I don't know if he had full control of that. Because it was ruled a touchdown, it's automatically reviewed.
So they will look.
So
the Ravens are arguing the point.
So he does get 2 feet down, but when does control of the football happen? Control of the football appears to me that it happens after that first foot comes off the ground.
Craig Rolstad will go under the hood, take a look, we'll take a break. We'll even tune in Mike Carey for the first time today. That'll be fun.
I'll let him go.
Craig Rolstad on his way back to the field to make the call.
After review, the ruling on the field has changed. It was an incomplete pass. The receiver did not maintain possession until he pinned the ball against his waist, and therefore only got 1 foot down and bounds. It'll be 3rd down at the 16-yard line.
Mike Carey in New York. What about the call?
Well, this is what they saw. The first foot came down, and because he didn't maintain complete control, they decided that this is one that they should reverse. The second foot comes down. He lands with the ball under control, but it's that bobble right after the first step that was the point.
All right, Mike, thank you. So now it is 3rd and 6 from the 16-yard line. The touchdown wiped off the board. Roethlisberger off to the left again. That pass is incomplete. Looked like off the helmet of Marcus Wheaton, and Lardarius Webb was there to defend.
Well, and Ben Roethlisberger, this fault is on him. He leaves the ball behind, allows Lardarius Webb to come in and knock that away. As you see, Wheaton reach back for the ball. If he leads him towards the sideline, that is going to be a catch and a first down. Even the best of them can have a poor throw.
How big a call is that? So the touchdown comes off the board. Pittsburgh now settling for the field goal attempt by Chris Boswell from 34 yards. And it is good. 14:48 to play. Ben Roethlisberger thought he had 7 on the board. Instead, it's a 7-3 Baltimore lead. That AFC wildcard race we've been telling you about. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and the Jets all at 9-5. Kansas City leading at home against the Browns. The Jets with a 3-0 lead at home against New England. Pittsburgh on the short end of a 7-3 game here in Baltimore. But it's early yet.
Still plenty of time in all 3 football games, but you can see the frustration on Roethlisberger's face as he was leaving the field, knowing that he had a pass that he could have and should have completed.
This one bounces in the end zone. Caleb Clayton decides not to run this one out, so it'll come out to the 20-yard line. Meanwhile, Ryan Mallett off to as good a start as he can expect today.
Well, it was an impressive first drive, getting an opportunity to start here for the Ravens, connecting with Aiken, moving the ball, and then the touchdown to Matthews in the back of the end zone. Mallett on that opening drive, 5 of 7 for 47 yards and the touchdown.
So the Ravens first down from their own 20. Terrence West starts this series in the backfield.
What's up?
And West gets the handoff. Ran right past the defender, breaks tackles on the outside, has a first down out across the 30 to about the 33, maybe the 34-yard line. Let's go down to Jamie.
Well, Greg, as we mentioned, just 12 days ago is when Ryan Mallett joined this Ravens team. We heard from the team that he's worked very hard in the locker room to ingratiate himself with his new teammates, and that is carrying over to the sideline today after that last drive, working with the other 2 quarterbacks and checking in with each personnel group to make sure everyone's on the same page, and it seems to be clicking.
All right, Jamie, thank you. This is West again, and West stacked up at about the 35. The recap on the season for the Ravens: began the season 12 straight games decided by 8 or less points, but finishes 4-8 in those games. 19 players on IR. That's the most in the NFL, and it is their first losing season since 2007. And they're currently running 4th in the 2016 draft order.
On that 2007 season, their turnover ratio was -17. This year, they're -15 coming into today. So there's a correlation for the Ravens.
Mallett's pass is complete, and the catch is made by Chris Gibbons, and Gibbons up the sideline, 30, 25-yard line. Mike Mitchell finally made the tackle. Steelers said he was down earlier.
Well, and the Ravens are trying to get the ball spotted as quickly as possible to get the snap off before it can be reviewed. Tomlin doesn't even wait. He throws the red flag before they even spot the ball.
Question is if they're going to count that contact as he made the catch. The look on Mike Tomlin's face says, come on, this is a no-brainer.
Well, and he has a great attitude and approach when dealing with his team.
Now, William Gay was definitely making a dive to bat down the pass.
So if they determine William Gay's right hand was around the waist of Givens, You see that right arm, and even the legs came into contact. I think this will be brought back, Greg.
And it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen.
The ruling on the field is the runner was down by contact at the 40-yard line. It'll be third down.
So that eliminates a 40-yard pickup. And John Harbaugh, like the rest of the crowd, glued to the replay screen here in the stadium.
Well, and Tomlin just threw the red flag again, so he's...
This ruling has been changed on the field. There's no challenge by Pittsburgh.
And you could see John Harbaugh, you can read his lips saying he threw the flag. However, that's something that you cannot challenge if you're a coach.
But it was smart by Tomlin to... Tomlin threw in just to get the attention of the officials to discuss it, so I think that's what Harbaugh did. I think Harbaugh just wanted the attention to have a discussion, so...
Baltimore is challenging the ruling on the field that the runner was not down by contact.
So they will go back under the hood and take a look at the play by William Gay on the receiver. Here's Craig Rolstad.
On the last play, the runner was ruled down by contact. Down by contact is unable to be challenged by rule. Therefore, the play will stand as called on the field, third down.
Mike Carey in New York. You called it all the way from New York, didn't you?
Yeah, so this is a complicated play. Instant replay is complicated, but the only time you can challenge down by contact is if there was a fumble, a first down, or a score.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. That pass on the outside to Chris Matthews is complete, and that's enough for a first down. That will move the ball out to about, out to about the 46-yard line and a first down for Baltimore.
Well, it was important for the Ravens to get refocused. That was a long time between plays there, whether it be the challenge by Tomlin or the non-challenge by Harbaugh. Ultimately, Matthews making the first tackler miss and getting the first down.
Mallett, deep drop, good protection, throws incomplete inside the 40-yard line. He'll be marked at about the 37-yard line. That's Kamar Aiken once again. Told you about the big day he had in the loss to Kansas City last week. 8 catches for 128 yards.
Aiken isolated one-on-one on William Gay. Looks like he's just running a go route. Ultimately does a deep curl. Mallett putting it right between the numbers.
This is Allen back to the ground game, and Allen slices inside the 35 to about the 32. A reminder, Tuesday on CBS, a star-studded night celebrating legendary artists, including the man behind Star Wars, George Lucas. Stephen Colbert hosts the Kennedy Center Honors Tuesday at 9, 8 Central, only CBS. I have to say, Mark Trestman, the offensive coordinator, is doing a great job of mixing up the plays. Mallett, quick pop over the middle. That's complete. Inside the 25 to the 23 is Max Williams, the rookie tight end out of Minnesota.
And Greg, what's so great about what Trestman's doing from a play calling standpoint is he's mixing the run and the pass. So they've had some effectiveness running the football, 58 yards rushing already to this point of the game, but he's also allowing Mallett to get into a rhythm with short throws underneath, popping it to the tight end, and then when the time's right, he's pushing it up the field as we just had the deep completion to Aiken.
First down from the 23. This is West. Trying to turn the corner on the left side, might have gotten a yard. We go back to what we said at the top of this day. Rivalries are a different sort of thing, and you can't really put too much weight on numbers and statistics when you have one tough rival against another.
Well, these teams don't like each other. It's very simple. If you look at the history of this rivalry, and you know, we've seen several times today the chippiness, guys getting in each other's face and pushing and shoving. It's not getting out of hand yet, but you can see where it could get out of hand moving forward.
On second and 9. This is Allen out of the backfield, and Allen inside the 20 to the 19.
You know, Greg, we just a second ago talked about Mark Trestman and his play calling, and sometimes when you get a new quarterback that hasn't been in the system a long time, sometimes it's good just to simplify things, and not just for the quarterback, but for the offense in general. Sometimes when you have a veteran quarterback and you've been in an offense a long time, you come up with all these trick plays and new schemes. Sometimes it's better just to narrow the focus and simplify things down, and that's been the case so far today for the Ravens.
He's only been in town since the 15th. Maybe that's of necessity. Mallett, that pass incomplete. Intended for Matthews, and that'll bring the field goal unit on.
Well, and honestly, I think he got lucky with that one. Shazier was trying to bait him in. He was on the backside. Mallett was taking his eyes. He was trying to throw the ball to the right, but he took his eyes to the left, hoping to drag Shazier into the middle of the field. You turn around and throw that blind throw on the slant to the backside, and Shazier didn't fall for it, and fortunately for Mallett, that wasn't intercepted.
Inside 40 yards. Justin Tucker has made 41 in a row. This one from 37. Make it 42 straight. 10:01 to play. In the first half, 10-3 Baltimore. Inside the B&O Railroad Museum here in Baltimore, Winterfest Wonderland. Did you have a train set when you were a kid?
I did not, but my grandfather was a big train guy, so he had this elaborate set, very similar to that he just built over the years, and it was, as a kid, it was a lot of fun.
Marcus Wheaton will not get a chance to run this one back. The touchback means the ball comes out to the 20-yard line, and Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh offense on the field after this. Terrell Suggs, injured, but an emotional leader of this Ravens team nevertheless. On first down from the 20, play fake to Williams. Roethlisberger lofting it. It is almost intercepted off the fingertips of Jimmy Smith, number 22.
Well, and Roethlisberger was lucky on that one, getting away with it. Jimmy Smith has it in his hands, not able to bring it in. Ben's used to throwing up the field to all those receivers that can make adjustments to that. You're trying to hit a fullback up there on a corner route. They can't make those same adjustments.
On 2nd and 10, here's D'Angelo Williams, and Williams trying to break it to the outside, gets about 5.5 to 6. Darrell Smith with the stop. D'Angelo's had himself a good day.
He's nearing now, getting close to 90 yards rushing already, and great effectiveness in the run game with the blocking up front. Not a lot of contact initially at the line of scrimmage, but look at him, 32 years old, still showing that elusiveness, still showing that burst to get up the field.
Williams in the backfield on 3rd and 5, and coming across the line was Dumerville. That pass down the sideline. Whistles blew, it will not count.
Well, and that's why you always have to keep playing. Hard to hear the whistle, but you got to keep going. And
prior to the snap, neutral zone infraction, defense number 58. That 5-yard penalty will give Pittsburgh a first down.
So Dumerville, the guilty party, and there wasn't really much doubt about it either.
No, not much doubt there. A lot of the players stop, some keep going. It's always smart to keep going, especially in this crowd where you can't hear the whistle blow.
So the Steelers now from their own 30. They trail 10-3, coming up on 9 minutes to play in the first half. Roethlisberger gives to D'Angelo Williams, and D'Angelo Williams, who has done such a terrific job coming on in relief of the injured Le'Veon Bell. Everyone felt that this Steeler offense, while it wouldn't fall apart, would lose the thrust on the ground game. They really didn't lose much at all.
You know, it's been impressive with D'Angelo Williams. We had a chance to talk to him a few weeks back when we had them, and he was talking to us about his age, or we brought up the age, and he said, you know what, it's just about opportunity. When I was in Carolina, I was sharing the workload, whereas now with Le'Veon out, I understand my role, and I'm relishing the fact that I'm getting more opportunities and more touches.
Pittsburgh, 98 yards on the ground, 29 yards through the air. Williams again, trying to turn the corner, and he goes down. Number 90 is Darius Smith. Looked like he grabbed D'Angelo by his hair.
Well, and that's not a horse collar tackle. So if you're out there and you're a Steeler fan and you're thinking a horse collar tackle, you can be brought down by your hair. That rule was put in place years ago. So that's why no flag is thrown on that.
We duck under 8 minutes to play, and it's 3rd and 11 now for the Steelers. Time running down. They didn't get the play off in time. It'll be another 5 yards for delay of game. And that's Ramon Foster doing a little jawing with Courtney Upshaw. Timmy Jernigan.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, number 7, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
You know, talking with Mike Tomlin last night, he didn't for 1 second downplay the possibility of a tough Baltimore Ravens team coming out no matter how injured they are.
Well, and I don't know if the team got the same message, because right now Baltimore is showing that they want this game more. If you look at how physical they've been playing. Now I expect the Steelers to turn things around, but there have been some missed opportunities for Pittsburgh up until this point.
Roethlisberger, this sideline. And that catch is made out of bounds. Antonio Brown caught it but was out of bounds.
On 3rd and 16, finding a crease in the zone. Surprised that the Ravens didn't drop back more in coverage, not allowing the play over the top. Fortunate that he was ruled out of bounds.
Jordan Berry will punt it away to Kalen Clay. High and not very deep, and a fair catch is called for and made at about the 32-yard line. Pretty good field position for Ryan Mallett and the Baltimore offense when we come back after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Macy's. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Back in Baltimore, the time of year cries out for attention being played to playoff position. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and the Jets all vying for those 2 AFC wildcard slots. Cleveland just cut short a Kansas City offensive thrust with an interception. Kansas City still leading it by 10-3. Again, Pittsburgh can claim a wildcard spot with a win and a New York Jets loss at home to New England. Ryan Mallett and the Raven offense from their own 32. That quick pass is complete to Aiken, and Aiken across the 35 to the 37. That's a pickup of about 5. It'll be 2nd and 5, or they'll call it 4, 2nd and 6. Tonight on a new Undercover Boss, a company known for sweet treats has a boss who can make things sour. New Undercover Boss tonight after 60 minutes only. CBS. Roethlisberger completed his first 3 passes of the day and then hasn't completed one since. And now 11 out of 14 throwing again. Pulls it down and then complete over the middle.
Well, and that's really the first time they've brought the type of pressure and collapsed the pocket around Mallett where he wasn't able to step into the throw, catching that front leg on one of his linemen, stumbling as he threw it, so the ball ends up falling short. But really, Mark Trestman doing a good job with the play calling, getting Mallett to get the ball out of his hands quickly. 11 of 15 is Mallett right now for 91 yards, so he's not really pushing the ball up the field when you look at how many yards on those completions.
Jumping is Kelechi Osemele, the left tackle.
Offense, number 72, 5-yard penalty, Third down.
Coming into this game, Baltimore with 99 penalties, tied with St. Louis for the 6th most in the league. 3rd and 11 now.
Well, and this makes it more difficult, obviously, for the Ravens. 5 of 6 on third downs, but they haven't been in these 3rd and longs. Most of them have been 3rd and short to 3rd and medium.
Mallett over the middle. Oh, diving catch is made by Juszczyk. But because he had to dive, he lost his footing and the momentum, and he comes up about 3 yards short of a first down.
Juszczyk makes an incredible catch, incredible one-handed catch.
A better throw gets a first down on that.
But you're right, Greg. Yeah, if he puts it on him now, he's trying with the pocket collapsing around him. He has to release it high to get over the lineman. So that does cause a higher release, but a more accurate throw does pick up the first down.
Pro Bowl punter Sam Cook for the Ravens. Kicking to Antonio Brown. And to the near sideline, bounces inside the 15 and takes a Pittsburgh bounce and will be marked out of bounds at about the 17-yard line. 5:36 to play in the first half. Baltimore leading Steelers by over the years, some of the great names and faces in football have contributed to one of the best, if not the best, rivalry in the NFL. 1st and 10. Pittsburgh at their own 17-yard line. Roethlisberger, quick pass near sideline, complete to Antonio Brown, who is pushed out of bounds just at about the 25-yard line by Sharice Wright.
When I anticipate the Steelers going into a little bit more up-tempo, they've done some of this muddle huddle, they call it, where the linemen get up there. But I would think so far to this point, you see they're thrown to 5 times, only has the 3 receptions for 35 yards, but Roethlisberger only has 4 completions. So when you're looking at the balance between run and pass, the Steelers have run the ball nearly twice as much as they've thrown the ball, which is kind of contradictory to what they've done the previous 6 weeks.
Roethlisberger looks the other way this time, and this is D'Angelo Williams out of the backfield and run out of bounds by C.J. Mosley. This Roethlisberger to Antonio Brown combo has been absolutely terrific. 42 straight games in which both Roethlisberger and Brown have played. The duos combined for at least 5 completions, 19 100-yard receiving games, tied for the most in the NFL since 2013.
Well, and you have to remember the 4 games that Ben missed this season with Roethlisberger in the game. 135 yards a game for Brown. Without Roethlisberger in the game, only 59 yards a game.
On first down, Roethlisberger with time, throwing over the middle, intercepted. Picked off at the 45-yard line by Darrell Smith.
Darrell Smith with the interception right in the middle of the field. It's just Roethlisberger getting greedy. He's going to have Heath Miller sitting underneath in a sit down. You're going to have him come down here, but he's trying to force the throw into Antonio Brown. Darrell Smith drops right back into coverage. As I said, that's just Roethlisberger trying to get a little bit greedy and push it up the field, thinking he can get over the top. As that ball travels through the air, look at Heath Miller sitting underneath, open at about 5 yards.
That is only the 5th pass the Baltimore Ravens have intercepted all season long. And with 4:38 to play in the first half, let's see if they can turn it into points on the board. Ravens at their own 44. Terrence West in the backfield, and he gets the handoff and gets maybe a yard. Cameron Hayward with the stop. Let's go back to that last pass by Roethlisberger.
When Roethlisberger was under pressure, he takes a hit after throwing it from Jernigan. A little slow to get up, but I can tell you as a quarterback, you're more frustrated with the throw than you are with the hit.
This is Allen, and Allen squeezes through to the 40. of the Steelers before Mike Mitchell brings him to a halt. 15-yard pickup. First down.
It's going to come back on a hold by the Ravens.
Holding. Offense, number 64. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
That's the center, John Urschel.
Urschel's going to be coming up on Shazier. See, gets that left arm outside Shazier. Anytime you wrap that hand around the backside of the shoulder pads, that's what the officials are looking for. You keep your hands inside and underneath. But as soon as that arm goes around, gets to the back, place the hand on the back, it's going to be called.
So instead of good field position in Pittsburgh territory, the Ravens at their own 35 with a 2nd and 19. And now the official stops the clock. And I think they may be talking about whether or not the spot is correct. The yard line is correct. They're going to leave it at the 35.
The penalty enforcement is correct.
So they will wind the clock. 3:45 to play in the first half. Steelers looking to clinch a playoff berth today with a little help. But first they have to take care of business here. That pass is complete across midfield. Jeremy Butler brought to a stop at about the 48-yard line. That'll be 2 yards shy of a first down.
Well, and this is similar to the play they ran in the first quarter with Butler. Watch Timmons, 94, tries to get underneath it. See him come in late into the picture there. Mallett with his eyes trying to hold Timmons in the middle of the field and hit Butler in the crease. Second time today.
Let's see what he dials up on 3rd and 2. Going to throw for it. Over the middle. First down. Inside the 40 to the 39 is Javaris Allen. Clock continues to move, coming up on 2:50 to play in the first half. A reminder, coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB and the guys back in New York with the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
Well, I can tell you, Greg, this is a different Ryan Mallett than we saw earlier this season when we saw him start for the Texans. It just seems more confident. He's under control. He's in good command of this offense.
This is Terrence West, and Terrence West is going nowhere. Wrestled down at the 40-yard line. And we'll see if they get another snap off prior to the 2-minute warning. They don't appear to be in a hurry to do so.
And it's really amazing when you think of it. We've said it several times, the fact that Mallett's only been here 12 days. Sometimes when you simplify things down as an offense and you can dial in on the specific plays that you're good at and that you feel comfortable with, you can execute the way they are.
2 minutes to play in the first half here in Baltimore. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Who would have thought Ryan Mallett would be leading in the quarterback comparison going head-to-head with Ben Roethlisberger today? This is Terrence West. And West struggling inside the 40 at about the 38.5-yard line. Just what's happening here, Trent?
Well, I think it's been a case where the Ravens defensively came out and said, listen, we don't want to get into a track meet with the Steelers. We don't want a shootout, so we're going to play softer coverage. We're going to put them in a position where the Steelers are going to want to run the ball, and that's what the clock has been used up. And then effectively for Baltimore, they've been converting third downs, moving the ball down into scoring range, and Mallett's controlled himself very well.
Once again, Kamar Aiken pulls in the pass at the 32, and he'll be about 3 yards short, and a timeout is called on the field and taken by the Pittsburgh Steelers. 1:21 to play in the half. Reminder once again, the Verizon Halftime Report coming up from New York. JB and the gang with scores and highlights, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Justin Tucker lining up a 50-yard field goal, and he hasn't been very good here at home from 50 or more yards. In this season, 1 out of 11 for his career, 0 for 5 this season. Much better on the road. Kick is on its way and looking pretty good. So much for numbers.
Well, John Harbaugh talked to us about numbers. He doesn't like looking at the numbers, especially getting into the reach rivalry games. You can throw those yardage totals, point totals, sack totals, interception totals. Tucker coming through with the 50-yarder, just his second, as you said, Greg, in his career here at home. You think he didn't know what his stat was on a 50-yarder? I would say that reaction makes that pretty clear.
So the Ravens stretch their lead now to 13-3 with 1:17 to play in the first half. Darryl Smith with the interception made that 3 possible.
Well, and that's where the tough test for any quarterback, whether you're a veteran guy like Roethlisberger or a young quarterback, is not getting impatient. You have to take what the defense gives you. Roethlisberger trying to push the ball up the field to Antonio Brown, forcing it, trying to get it over the head of Darryl Smith. Smith coming up with the interception when he had Miller on the sit-down route 5 or 6 yards from the line of scrimmage. So it's having that patience when things aren't going your way in a passing game standpoint as a quarterback. Believe me, it's hard because you want to push the ball up the field. You have to have patience with it and take what the defense gives you.
Marcus Wheaton will not get a chance to return this one either. Justin Tucker has done a good job on the kickoffs, and once again they'll start from their own 20-yard line, and the AFC playoff picture looks like this. And you know, those Denver Broncos, nothing is certain for them at this point.
Well, Kansas City keeps winning. If Denver ends up losing on Monday night, it makes things real interesting in the AFC West. But looking at the 3 wildcard teams right now, the Jets are leading at halftime against New England. Always interesting this time of year, Greg.
Kansas City coming down the final seconds of the first half, leading Cleveland by a 10-3 score. So let's see what Roethlisberger and the Steelers can do with 1:17 and 2 timeouts. Roethlisberger throwing, that's Williams out of the backfield, and is brought to a stop at about the 25-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 5. C.J. Mosley made the tackle. We come up on 1 minute to play.
Well, Pittsburgh still has 2 timeouts, so this clock is winding down. I just got through talking about patience. There's times to be patient, and then there's times where you have to try pushing the ball at the field, this being one of those.
Roethlisberger hit and goes down inside his own 20-yard line. Timmy Jernigan along with Lawrence Guy.
Jernigan having a heck of a first half. Able to get the sack. That's a coverage. There was nowhere for Roethlisberger to go with it. They went a 3 deep shell, so there was everybody deep trying to get things underneath. Wasn't anywhere to go with the football.
And Pittsburgh uses a timeout, 46 seconds on the clock. Pittsburgh down to 1 timeout. Baltimore has all 3 of theirs. When does John Harbaugh start to use them?
Well, he's going to use it right here if the clock is moving. If the Steelers don't pick up the first down, he'll definitely burn a timeout.
3rd and 12. And a penalty marker flies. Number 21, Ladarius Webb, was pleading his case to a side judge for a penalty.
He was pointing at it.
Start. Offense, number 14. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't Sammy Coates. I think it's going to be Antonio Brown right there in the slot. He just flinched a little bit. Coates is inactive today, so even though Rolstead said it was 14, it was 84.
So 3rd and 17. Roethlisberger pumps one, throws over the middle. That's complete to Heath Miller, and Miller down just short of the 25-yard line, and John Harbaugh quickly calls a timeout to stop the clock with 38 seconds to play.
Well, and this makes it even more difficult trying to figure out, we've mentioned several times, Ryan Mallett only being here for 12 days. You simplify things, you simplify the offense. How much of the 2-minute offense does he know? How much of the hand signals? How can you communicate this? They will still have 2 timeouts, as we're showing right there, Baltimore. So depending on the field position you get here and how many plays Mallett knows in this type of this type of situation, because situational offense is something that you work. Situational offense and defense is something you work every week. But just how many reps has he had in this this type of 2-minute?
Kalen Clay is deep at his own 25 for the Ravens. Jordan Berry got it away. This is Clay. The catch is made, and the hit is made almost immediately by number 29, Shamarko Thomas. So with a half minute to play, here comes Ryan Mallett, and I guess we'll find out just how much of this 2-minute offense he's been able to learn since he arrived in Baltimore on the 15th of this month.
Well, but here's what he has to understand. He's got a 10-point lead. You don't want to force something, even though you want to go down and get points and you're trying to get momentum, all those kind of things. You've played such a good first half. You've got your team in position with a 10-point lead. Don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything silly. Still take what the defense gives you and don't overforce it.
Not forcing anything here with DeHorace Allen carrying up the middle to about the 39-yard line, and a timeout is called to stop the clock with 24 to play. That leaves Baltimore and Pittsburgh with one timeout apiece.
Well, that's a good conservative call. You just run the draw, see if you can pick up some yards. Be able to get a nice 6-yard chunk. Once again, you don't want to be too risky because of the way they get it. It all depends on score and situation and field position and how you're playing. There's a lot of things that go in to the mindset of play calling, especially with this time left in the half.
Reset the game clock to 26 seconds to play. Mallett. Quick pop over the middle. That is complete to Allen, and Allen run out of bounds at about the 44-yard line. That's enough for a first down, but only 19 seconds to play. Right before the end of the first half last week, Jimmy Clausen was at the controls for the Ravens and connected with Kamar Aiken on a 48-yard Hail Mary. Mallett again, the short pass over the middle and into Pittsburgh territory is Allen. And the timeout with 13 seconds to play. This was the game, the one last week against Kansas City. Jimmy Clausen launching, and number 11, Kamar Aiken, just swooping in for the catch and the touchdown.
Well, Ryan Mallett has more than enough arm to throw it from the 46-yard line to get into the end zone. But with 13 seconds left, you can still try and work the sideline, get out of bounds. You could even get a 10-yard gain, 15-yard gain, and have time to run up and spike the ball, as long as you tell the receiver when you catch it you need to get down, because you don't want to burn up time as you're zigzagging around the field. So Tucker just hit a 50-yarder, so you only need to pick up another 12 yards or so.
See what the Ravens can do with 13 seconds. Mallett, and we get a whistle and flags. And this will back the Ravens up 5.
Timer, please reset the game clock to 13 seconds. Thank you.
So the line of scrimmage is now the Baltimore 49.
Well, now to get to that 50-yard field goal range, you need to pick up 19 yards, so you make it much more difficult for yourself.
Mallett throwing to the near side, and that ball's incomplete, intended for Jeremy Butler. We're down to 9 to play.
Well, take that middle of the field out of the equation now, Greg. There's not enough time to get it in the middle of the field, run up and spike and attempt a field goal. Now you've either got to get out of bounds or you've got to get it into the end zone.
Mallett throws this side of the field, incomplete, and that stops the clock with 5 seconds to play. Jeremy Butler, the nearest to the ball on this side.
Yeah, now you've got to launch it to the end zone.
How many Hail Marys did you connect on in your career?
0.
Really?
Yes, never had one. Not whether it be high school, college, or pros. Never connected on one. Tried a bunch.
Mallett under pressure, just got rid of it, and time expires here in the first half. Well, don't know what you expected from the first half, but these Baltimore Ravens came out and played hard, played tough, and are going to go to the locker room with a 10-point lead. Down to Jamie.
Coach, you find out this morning that Ryan Mallett would start for the Ravens. What's been challenging about the way he's run this offense?
Nothing really. You know, their personality hadn't changed whatsoever. Like we talked about earlier in the week, regardless who's played quarterback for those guys, their personality's been the same. We just got to play better.
Why the focus on the run game for you guys?
You know, we're just taking what they're giving us. You know, we got to win possession downs. It's just part of ball. We're taking what they're giving us.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Jamie. For only the fourth time this year, the Ravens have the lead at halftime. 13-3 Baltimore. We're back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 50. In the first half here in Baltimore, a game of surprises, you could say that. Pittsburgh came out running the ball well, not throwing it nearly as well as we are accustomed to seeing a Steeler team throw the football. Meanwhile, Ryan Mallett has been a pleasant surprise starting at quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, and at halftime, it is a 13-3 lead. The Ravens leading the Pittsburgh Steelers. A reminder, follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Welcome back to Baltimore, everyone. Greg Gumbel, along with Trent Green. I think we're all surprised, a bit to say the least, and yet we said at the very beginning of the day, this is a rivalry game, and none of this should really surprise us.
Well, and the thing is, rivalry games, you throw all the records out the window. Coach Harbaugh talked to us about that. He said, you know what, I don't care what the two records are. I don't care that their offense is putting up a lot of points. We're going to go into this, and we expect to win, and that's the approach they've had the entire first half.
All right, keys to the second half.
Well, I think it's important for the Steelers. Number one, they need to stay on the field. They haven't been converting third downs, only 1 of 5 on third down. So if you're not out on the field, you can't get points on the board. And then for the Ravens, keep the pressure off of Mallett. Don't ask him to win the football game. They've had a nice balance of running and passing, and they're keeping the pass game short so he's not under pressure to push the ball up the field.
First half numbers, boy, we said it. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been able to run the football, but 58 passing yards is not what you expect from this Steeler offense that has so many offensive weapons.
Well, and you think about the numbers Roethlisberger has put up since he's come back from injury, especially over the last 7 weeks. And you're right, Greg, we didn't anticipate this, but the Ravens have been playing soft coverage and forcing him to throw underneath.
This one taken short at about the 20-yard line and brought back by Zadarius Smith. So it'll be good field position to start the second half when we go down to Jamie.
Well, Greg, I can tell you, it doesn't sound like major celebration yet in the Ravens locker room. All business-like was the message inside for John Harbaugh. He felt like they attacked well on offense, and now it can become a game management situation for Ryan Mallett. Defensively, he knows they ran the ball early, but he's been very happy with the Ravens pass rush thus far.
All right, Jamie, thank you. First down, and we get a whistle right off the bat.
False start, offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's the Pro Bowl guard, Marshall Yanda. And a jump.
Gets a little head nod, and Hayward jumps off sides. Good recognition by Hayward to not let that slide by.
So I think the biggest question is, can Ryan Mallett keep it up here in the second half? He's going to throw right off the bat. Sideline pass, and that is batted away by number 31, Ross Cockrell.
Well, and he's slow. Mallett's slow getting up. James Harrison's going to get the penalty.
There's no foul for low hit on the quarterback as the defender was blocked into the quarterback. Second down.
As Matt Schaub starts to throw on the sideline. Here's the play. I got to tell you, I don't think he was blocked into the quarterback at all.
It didn't look like he was blocked into it at all. Even though his hands were on his back, he didn't push him in the back. hear the reaction of the crowd. They saw the replay as well.
So it's 2nd and 15. Mallett pulls it down, now throws again, right through the hands of Chris Gibbons. Now to Jamie.
Greg, from the Steelers sideline, cornerback Antoine Blake has been ruled out of this game with back spasms.
All right, Jamie, thank you. And a little jawing between number 55, Arthur Moats of the Steelers, and Kelechi Osemele, the left tackle.
Well, Osemele slammed Harrison to the ground after that play. Just on a good, clean block, but the other defenders saw how that play finished up and came to Harrison's defense.
Jamie talking about Antoine Blake not there. Ross Cockrell has replaced him at cornerback. This is 3rd and 15. And Mallett, the quick outlet to Juszczyk, and Juszczyk bullying his way across the 35 and out of bounds at the 37-yard line. And it'll be 4th down.
Well, I think it's pretty clear what the message was at halftime for Coach Tomlin. Steelers are coming out with a much different attitude and approach. I think you call that chippiness, Greg.
Which can't come as a surprise to the Ravens.
Right. I mean, I'm sure he went in and the message was very strong. You got to remember, last week the Steelers were down 17 in the first half to Denver, came back to win that game, and now here today down 10 at halftime. Much different team coming out to start the second half.
Antonio Brown, dangerous punt returner, but he's brought down just at the 20-yard line by Chris Matthews. Matthews, a touchdown catch and a big special teams play. We've been telling you that Pittsburgh offense has come up very short so far today, just 3 points on the board after averaging 35 a game over the last 6 games. From the 21-yard line, Roethlisberger to throw. And on Antonio Brown in a hurry is Sharice Wright. This is what the Steelers managed in the first half.
Or didn't manage, because they weren't moving the ball very effectively. Only 1 of 5 on 3rd down. You see the last 2 possessions were 3 and outs. That first series, they were able to move the ball, had a nice drive going, that 7-play drive, getting it down. They got to the 20-yard line, decided to go for it on 4th, and the Ravens stopped them.
.14 rushes and 7 passes on their first 21 plays, and they've thrown the ball 7 consecutive times since. Make it 8 now on the far side of the field, and that is incomplete through the hands of Martavis Bryant. Shadowed by Jimmy Smith. 3rd and 5. And this Raven defense coming to life.
Well, the defense trying to get the crowd into it. This has been a trouble area for the Steelers in the first half, converting these 3rd downs.
And we're going to have a timeout called by the Steelers with 13:32 to play in the 3rd quarter, trying to find some footing here early in the second half.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency. Low fares, nothing to hide. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Honda. Hurry in for great deals during Happy Honda Days.
Back on 3rd and 5. Roethlisberger over the middle. That is complete, and that is enough for a first down out to the 32-yard line. Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown working the underneath route, trying to go upfield, a stack look with the tight end, and then just peeling off, knowing where the first down marker is, and able to extend and get the ball.
5 catches for 47 yards. That's as good a job as you can ask for against Antonio Brown to this point in the game. Now on first down, pump fake, going deep, down the sideline, incomplete, penalty marker is thrown from the middle of the field. Martavis Bryant covered by Jimmy Smith.
And we're a long way from them, Greg, but you could see the jersey in the grab. The ball was in the air, so it's going to be called pass interference, but he was pulling him back towards him.
Pass interference. Defense, number 22. The ball replaced with the spot on the foul, automatic. First down.
This is where it's going to take place. Jimmy Smith on Bryant on the far sideline. You'll see that little dip move inside. Smith reaches out with the left arm and just pulls him back. You see the jersey extend, which you'd normally call holding, but since the ball was in the air, that's pass interference.
That penalty good for a 29-yard pickup and a first down for Pittsburgh inside the Baltimore 40. Roethlisberger over the middle. That's complete. And that's Darius Hayward-Bay with his first catch of the day. But that's good for a first down at about the 28-yard line.
Well, in that pass interference call, that first of all, the third down conversion, and then the pass interference call to get him a big chunky yardage, that could just be the energy or the boost that the Steelers offense needed to get going.
Give us to Williams. Williams to the 25.
Dean Pease, the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, has put together a heck of a game plan. We talked about Mark Trestman, what he's done for Ryan Mallett, but this defense, knowing the way that the Steelers like to push the ball up the field, the game plan and the way that Dean Pease has been calling things, really keeping them in check up until this point.
Ten consecutive passing plays. Broken up by that D'Angelo Williams rush. 2nd and 8. Play clock down to 3, down to 2. And they got the snap away. Another fake, looks the other way, going for the end zone, and it is incomplete. And a penalty marker dropped in the end zone. Antonio Brown down there, covered by Kendrick Lewis.
Pass interference. Defense, number 23. Since the interference occurred in the end zone, the ball was placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
Well, and that's on Lewis not turning around and locating the ball, just trying to time it out based on Brown extending or acting like he was going to go up for the ball. Lewis just mistiming that contact, getting the pass interference call. I was actually surprised Roethlisberger had an underneath throw to the other side, had Bryant underneath with Wheaton and clearing out to the right side, and he came back, got that cover 2 look, was able to squeeze it into Brown, but got the pass interference call on Lewis.
Pass interference calls killing the Ravens. 1st and goal for the Steelers. 53 yards and penalties just on this drive. D'Angelo Williams straight ahead, diving for the end zone. And touchdown. And a penalty marker.
The way Matt Spaeth threw his hands up in the air, the tight end for the Steelers.
The touchdown is good. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Pittsburgh, number 89. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
That is Matt Spaeth. Let's look at the touchdown run by D'Angelo Williams.
Just running right there on the left side. And then Spaeth, you can see right in the middle of your screen. Here's D'Angelo Williams breaking through the 2 arm tackles to get the ball across the line.
And a little extra push and shove down low.
Anytime you see a player throw their arms up in the air, like
Guilty.
what? Not me? Not me.
Guilty.
You tend to be guilty when you give that motion.
Chris Boswell for the extra point. And it is good. 11:18 to play. There's a little punch to the helmet and another one. 13-10 Ravens. A 78-yard drive aided greatly by 2 pass interference calls. And Pittsburgh has its first touchdown of the day. 53 penalty yards in all on that drive. 13-10 Ravens. And Kalen Clay is deep. From inside the 10-yard line, Clay. And brought down just shy of the 35. Once again, that AFC wild card race. Cleveland has tightened up its game at Kansas City. New England has just scored to close the Jets' lead to 17-13. And as we mentioned, Pittsburgh with a win here and a Jets loss would clinch a playoff spot. Right now, the two teams in charge of the wild card, the Steelers and the Chiefs. But stay tuned, that can change on occasion. Mallett throwing, batted down. Number 95, Jarvis Jones, sticking a big paw up to knock that one away.
Well, I think this series is important. You want to see how the Ravens respond to getting punched in the mouth coming out that first series of the second half. Steelers came out with a different attitude defensively. They were able to get the Ravens on a stop. Now it's important for the Ravens to respond.
Running right up the middle for a first down across the 45 is Javoris Allen. Let's get an update on the Pats Jets from New York. JB and Bart.
Trent won't like this, but the meeting was at the quarterback.
The ball shared and Chandler Jones making a Fitzpatrick sandwich, and Jamie Collins picks it up, and does the rest, takes it in for the 14-yard score. The Patriots narrow the gap. Jets lead 17-13.
All right, Greg, I hope Trent didn't squirm.
You know, now that he's off the field and up in the booth, he doesn't mind it a bit.
You know, I just didn't like the fact how excited Bart Scott was explaining the quarterback getting smashed.
That's like raw meat at lunchtime. Baltimore across midfield and into Pittsburgh territory at the 49-yard line and looking at a 2nd and 5.
Well, the Ravens have been able to have some good balance running the football already with 83 yards rushing, and Pittsburgh only giving up 90 on average per game.
Mallett to throw, no! Goes down at the 40-yard line. Brandon Boykin fought off the block by Javoris Allen to get the sack.
Well, that's on Javoris Allen. As a running back, you have to come over. You got to come over here and get that block. He just doesn't pick it up, and Mallett having his eyes to the right side of the field. By the time he scans back to the left, he doesn't have the ability to slide up in the pocket, which forces another 3rd and long for the Ravens.
Another big penalty going against the Ravens. 3rd and 14. Mallett over the middle, and again, a bit of a misfire with Juszczyk, who was wide open.
Well,
and a little pushing and shoving at midfield once again. 73 is Marshall Yanda.
Juszczyk on the check down here. Even if he hauls it in, the Steelers had a couple defenders right there in position to come up and make the tackle.
So it was pretty much mistake-free football that gave the Ravens that first half advantage. That's beginning to fail them here. This kick out of bounds at the near sideline is going to give the Pittsburgh Steelers some pretty good field position with 9:16 to play here in the 3rd.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Cialis and by Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com.
Along with Trent Green, Jamie Erdahl, Greg Gumbel back here in Baltimore. Boy, we always say it, no one travels fans as well as the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there are a bunch of them here in Baltimore this afternoon. On first down from their own 23. Roethlisberger to throw to the sideline, and that's complete, and out of bounds at about the 40-yard line is Antonio Brown. Last drive was a killer for the Ravens.
Well, especially with the penalties, the pass interference call against Smith, and then in the end zone, Kendrick Lewis not getting his head around, pass interference call, setting it up at the 1, DeAngelo Williams for the touchdown.
A 6-play, 79-yard drive. 41. Roethlisberger to throw again over the middle and just misfires with Heath Miller.
You see Ben tap his chest. No,
they could do that. They could do that in their sleep.
Well, you would think so. You would think so. But there's been a couple times today. Ben missed a couple to Antonio Brown in the first half, and that time there, need to stick it a little bit more on Heath Miller's body.
Well, it looks like the Steelers have abandoned that run-first policy that they had adopted at the start of the game. 2nd and 10. Quick pass far side of the field. This is Martavis Bryant. And Bryant ducks back inside and is going to get wrapped up big as he crosses the 45. Forward progress looks like it'll be marked at about the 47-yard line. Let's go down to Jamie.
Great quick update again from the Steelers sideline. Fullback Roosevelt Nix has sustained a right foot injury. He will be out the rest of the game. We just saw him carted off the field.
All right, Jamie, thank you.
When you mentioned, Greg, getting away from the run and going more focused on the pass here in the second half, when there's struggles, you go with what's been working, and it's the pass game that's been working here, especially the last 6 weeks.
Clock down to 3, down to 2, and Roethlisberger has to call a timeout. A couple of machinations at the line of scrimmage cost him some time, and he has to use a timeout. That leaves Pittsburgh with just 1 here in the second half. Saturday, it's a triple header of college hoops. First, Ohio State and Maryland square off in a women's Big Ten badge. Then Tennessee visits their old coach Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers. And then Baylor travels to Kansas in a top 25 showdown. It's all right here on the road to the Final Four. CBS Sports.
Important third down, Greg. You mentioned that the Steelers only have 1 timeout left here in the second half, which is crucial. But Tomlin understands how important they used 1 timeout last drive, which coming out in the second half was important. But he understands all these drives, it gets important as you're trying to get these first downs and come back in a ball game where you're struggling.
3rd and 4. Roethlisberger pulls it down again, and a 3rd time, and he goes down. Zadarius Smith, number 90.
Great job by Smith, but also the other interior linemen. They're only going to rush 3 with the delay blitz for a 4th. It's Smith that comes on a little bit of a delay up against Villanueva and able to push him back in the pocket. That's a coverage stack. Nowhere for Roethlisberger to go with the football.
Clay. Fair catch called for and made it the 13-yard line. No need for that fair catch. He had running room. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Ravens with the ball and a 3-point lead. 7:10 to play in the third, and the Ravens getting started with a ground game. Terrence West, not much there, if anything at all. Over the years, 60 Minutes has reported a lot of mob stories. Watch some of the most memorable on a special edition of 60 Minutes tonight. Only CBS. You've got to think that it's important for the Ravens to reestablish a little bit of momentum, that they had in the first half.
Well, not only that, but it's going to be important from a field position standpoint where they started this drive off.
That's Aiken with the catch, and he's down at the 20-yard line, courtesy of Ross Cockrell. It'll be 3rd and 3.
And we just talked about how important the third downs were coming out in the second half for the Steelers. This 3rd down for the Ravens is equally as important. As you just said, Greg, you have to try and change that momentum around. Pittsburgh has come out with a different attitude on both sides of the ball, so the Ravens need to get some of that mojo going they had in the first half.
Especially needed here on 3rd down. Pass over the middle is complete across the 30 to the 33-yard line, and once again, Kamar Aiken, who has had an outstanding, not just football game today, but an outstanding month and a half.
Well, this is one of the things people talk about when describing Ryan Mallett's game, and that is his arm strength, his ability to fire the football into tight spaces, tight windows, as he's able to get Aiken for the first down.
On first down here is Allen, and nothing for Allen at all. Second effort gets him to about the 34. Clock continues to move. 5:20 to play in the third.
You don't want to completely abandon the run game. It hasn't been as effective here in the second half as it was in the first half, but you want to still have some of that balance. You don't want all of that pressure completely on Mallett's shoulders to get the offense going.
On 2nd and 9, that pass is complete. And bouncing off tacklers is Allen, and Allen is going to be about a yard short of a first down. You know, we've talked to Mike Tomlin so many times this season already, Trent, and occasionally he talks about figuring out the other guy or the other guy figuring him out. Who is figuring whom out right about now?
Well, I would say the first half was definitely the Ravens that were figuring things out, and they had the upper hand. But I would say the adjustments that the Steelers made at halftime, especially on the offensive side, going down and getting the score. But then defensively, they've been able, until this drive, they've been able to get the Ravens off the field as well.
That pass is complete to Juszczyk, and Juszczyk rolls for the first down at about the 44.
That's just a great catch by Juszczyk. Number one, being able to catch the ball, but understanding where the first down marker is and rolling and getting the ball across the line. So there he's short.
Kyle Juszczyk just can't buy a good pass today from Ryan Mallett.
He's had some struggles, but there he showed some tremendous hands bringing that catch in and keeping this drive alive.
West behind Mallett. West with the ball. Lost the ball. Covered by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Looks like he's going to be marked down by contact before the ball came out.
Runner is ruled down by contact. Second down.
Those guys are having a fight over there. They didn't realize it had already been marked down, ruled down by contact. So two officials mark it down. Let's see.
Got to agree with that.
Yeah, he's clearly down. Ball not out yet. There it comes out after he's made contact with the ground.
So it's 2nd and 10. And Mallett with the pass. Chris Matthews just short of midfield. Just a reminder for you, never miss a moment of football action with the CBS Sports app. Every play and score, every game and every highlight right as they happen. Download the CBS Sports app now at cbssports.com/mobile.
You wonder, Gray, at what point in time are they going to take a bigger shot up the field? Most of the completions have been underneath. Now may not be the time on third down.
Oh, what a catch made at the 45-yard line by Jeremy Butler. And there's that strong arm of Mallett squeezing it into a tight space.
Well, and this is several plays in a row now. They started off on their 13-yard line. They've been converting these third and shorts, moving it down the field, third and medium on this one. At some point in time, you're going to get the defense start sitting on those underneath routes. They're not going to allow you to have those 3-5-yard gains. You're going to have to start pushing the ball down the field.
Ryan Mallett, 6 out of 6 throwing on this drive, and he's going to throw it again. And there's that shot down the far sideline. It is incomplete. And that's Cockrell down here, and Chris Matthews, the intended receiver, although Chris Matthews did a better job as a defensive back breaking it up.
Well, and Greg, this is okay. It's not intercepted. You understand as a quarterback and as an offensive coordinator, you need to stretch the field as Aiken's getting looked at over on the sideline.
We are told Aiken is having his left hand looked at. We'll check on that. Meanwhile, a 2nd and 10 for Mallett. Allen running room up the middle and closed out quickly by Lawrence Timmons and Will Allen.
And Greg, back to my comments after that throw on first down. Sometimes you just need to loosen up the defense. If you've had the tendency to go underneath like the Ravens have been doing the majority of this drive, sometimes whether it's incomplete or not, you just need to throw it up the field, let the defense know you're willing to push the ball up the field so that you can loosen things up for those underneath throws.
Check, boys.
Malik to Juszczyk, and this time Juszczyk hit immediately after he caught the ball by William Gay. And so here comes the punting unit on 4th down.
Well, think about now how they've flipped the field. They had the ball at their own 13, so instead of giving the Steelers the ball back at around midfield, now they're going to be able to pin the Steelers down in there, or at least you anticipate them being able to pin the Steelers down in.
Cook picks it up. And it is caught inside the 10-yard line by Chris Matthews, who's been all over the field today. The 2nd annual Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award honors NFL players who exemplify outstanding sportsmanship on the field. The Ravens' Justin Forsett was named one of the 8 finalists for that award. Forsett has taken on a key mentor and leadership role in this, his 2nd season with the Ravens, whose season ended early with a broken arm back in Week 11. The winner of the award will be announced at the NFL Honors from San Francisco here on CBS on February the 6th. So the Steelers, there is Justin Forsett. Under half a minute to play here in the 3rd, and Roethlisberger will throw from deep. Over the middle to DeAngelo Williams, and Williams out close to a first down. Looks like he might have a first down at the 19-yard line. Zadarius Smith, C.J. Mosley making the stop, and this clock will wind down on the 3rd quarter. It's a 3-point game as we go to the 4th. That's the end of 3 with our score. The Ravens 13, the Steelers 10. Back to Baltimore after this message and a word from your local station. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who have won 10 straight games in the month of December, on the short end of a 13-10 game as we start the 4th quarter. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, the New York Jets, all in a battle for those last 2 playoff spots. Roethlisberger with fake. With DeAngelo Williams out of the backfield. And wrapped up at about the 20-yard line by C.J. Mosley and Kendrick Lewis.
Nice coverage by Jimmy Smith. You saw Roethlisberger do the pump fake. It's because he was trying to get Martavis Bryant on a double move down the left sideline. Jimmy Smith just not biting on it, forcing Roethlisberger to hit the check down to Williams.
What a change in philosophy, Trent. First 21 plays offensively for Pittsburgh. 14 rushes, 7 passes, and then 2 rushes and 16 passes over the next 18 snaps. Roethlisberger with time, all kinds of time, and over the middle, complete to the 35-yard line to Marcus Wheaton. That was just a non-existent pass rush.
Well, and with the weapons that Roethlisberger has at his disposal, you cannot allow him to stand in the pocket that long. You have to be able to get pressure. They only rush 4, drop 8 into coverage, but with Antonio Brown, he does a double move, and after he sees Ben get in trouble, he wheels up the field. Then not able to locate him, but with Miller, Martavis Bryant, Wheaton, Antonio Brown, DeAngelo, you've got so many weapons out there, you just have to collapse the pocket around him and not allow him that much time.
On the ground with Williams, and Williams across the 35 to the 37, talking with Ladarius Webb out of the Ravens camp. We always talk about that clock that goes off in a quarterback's head, and I asked him if the same thing happens with the defensive back, that, you know, all of a sudden you're what, and he said, oh, you betcha. Except that doesn't apply to Ben Roethlisberger, who
Right.
always seems to find extra time to throw the football.
There are certain quarterbacks, as a defender, you have to be able to stick with your receiver longer because you know they can buy time with their legs and extend plays, and Roethlisberger being one of them.
Roethlisberger sideline, and that is intercepted, picked off by Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith, third interception of the season, is a big one for the Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens came into this game with just 4 interceptions all season long. They've grabbed 2 off of Ben Roethlisberger today. Mallett rolling and throws it complete at about the 45-yard line. Let's go down to Jamie.
We saw Kamar Aiken getting his left hand worked on the Ravens sideline earlier. He caught a couple passes on the sideline during that last series, made sure he could secure the ball, but he did look a little unsure about it, so it's certainly something to keep an eye on when it comes to ball possession. He
did grab that last pass, Jamie, but we will keep an eye on him. The ball is spotted just shy of the 45-yard line. It's 2nd and 7.
Mike 50.
Mallett. That pass near sideline incomplete. Intended for Max Williams, and we have a penalty marker down. And Craig Rolstad and his crew talking about it.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 66. That's a 15-yard penalty, 2nd out.
That's second-year left guard Ryan Jensen. And that puts the ball at the 29-yard line.
Well, and if you're Harbaugh, you can't be real happy with that, obviously, moving it back that far. You get good field position after the turnover, and now the costly penalty.
Baltimore has been penalized 9 times today for a total of 108 yards. Now, going deep. Got his man! Chris Gibbons! On the dead run, it's a first down at the 32.
Well, I can tell you, Greg, when he initially threw that ball, I thought it was going to be too flat. A lot of times in a cover 2, you're trying to hit that window between the corner and safety, and if you throw it that flat, it gets intercepted. The difference here is Mallett leads him up the field and puts it on such a dart that the safety can't get over the top. Mitchell can't get over the top and make the play.
39-yard pickup.
Where you go? Where's the light?
And we get a whistle. And looks like it might be a false start.
False start, offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty, replay.
Ryan Jensen has not had a good 3 minutes.
No, it hasn't been good for him, but getting back to Mallett, it's impressive, and you wonder, he keeps getting chances. So he was in New England, got an opportunity in Houston, and then released down there, and now he's getting an opportunity here with 2 games to go in the season for the Ravens. When you possess an arm like that, when you're able to make that kind of throw, there's not many guys even playing today that can make that throw. So if he can get the other stuff figured out the mental part, working through the progressions, taking care of the football, he's got so much talent. That's why he continues to get chances.
Wide open. The catch is made by Juszczyk. Juszczyk inside the 5. It'll be 1st and goal.
Juszczyk just lined up in the backfield. You see him sneaking out to the left flat. Shazier just losing coverage. Shazier is thinking that Juszczyk is going to the flat, so he looks back for the football, and Juszczyk wheels it up on the sideline.
And that time, Mallett delivered a decent ball for Juszczyk to catch. Mallett to throw again. Looking. And at the back of the end zone, it's incomplete. Max Williams is closest to it. 2nd and goal.
Well, that's smart by Mallett. Get rid of the ball. Stephon Tuitt is going to be putting the pressure on for the Steelers. Puts his hands up looking for a roughing the passer, but
that's a big landing by Stephon Tuitt. A career best for Ryan Mallett. And he still has 10:40 on the clock. 2nd and goal.
180. What's up?
Allen cutting it back to the end zone. Touchdown, Baltimore.
Steelers defense have only given up 5 rushing touchdowns this season. That being the 6th. The Ravens coming up. Look at the offensive line pushing the pile. Shazier has no chance because he can't get his legs underneath him. He tries to bounce back on the cutback. Has no leverage, and Allen's able to get it in.
First Baltimore touchdown in the 4th quarter since week 10. The kick is good. 10:35 to play in regulation. The Ravens with a 10-point lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, half the cost. Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. And by TD Ameritrade.
As we welcome you back to Baltimore, how about this stat, Trent? In the points off turnovers department, over the last 4 games, Baltimore had been outscored 50-0. Today, they have a 10-0 edge.
Well, that's been the difference. Obviously, a 10-point spread here.
Touchback. Ball comes out to the 20-yard line. A reminder for you, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS closes out the regular season with a doubleheader. That lineup will be determined according to flexible scheduling, but it all begins at noon Eastern time with the team that takes you all the way to Super Bowl 50, JB and the guys on the NFL Today. With their gold footballs that JB manufactures in his basement.
I don't see too many of those floating around. Steelers are looking for a golden football right here from Ben Roethlisberger to get back in this thing.
Roethlisberger's pass is complete to Heath Miller. And Miller, 8-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd down. Kyle Arrington with the tackle. The Pittsburgh theme here in the 2nd half, Trent, has been to throw the football.
Well, in the first half, D'Angelo Williams at 84 yards rushing. Now he's sitting at 91, so only 7 yards rushing here in the 2nd half.
Oh, look at the pass to Miller there, and Miller across the 45, out to about the 49-yard line. Good play fake by Roethlisberger.
The play fake is what is able to draw the defense in. Darryl Smith bites on the play fake. Heath Miller gets behind it, and Roethlisberger doesn't miss.
20-yard pickup. First down now from the 49. Williams. Lots of running room inside the Ravens 45. Lost the ball and recovered it again at about the 42.
Little pump draw fake as Ben comes out, looks to his right, gives a quick little shoulder roll. Ball comes out, but it would have been down anyway.
2nd and 2. And over the middle, once again, it's Heath Miller for a first down. Once again, Steelers arrived here in Baltimore hoping to clinch a playoff spot with a win here and a New York Jets loss. So far, Pittsburgh down 10, and the Jets with a 1-touchdown lead under 4 minutes to play at home against New England. Roethlisberger, and that's Williams out of the backfield to the 20, out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. And the terrible towels beginning to twirl here in the seats in Baltimore.
So D'Angelo Williams coming out of the backfield is one-on-one with C.J. Mosley. Roethlisberger just buys time and lets him run away from him. This was a part of D'Angelo Williams' game that we didn't know much about in Carolina. He wasn't really utilized as a receiver since taking over for Le'Veon Bell. He's got 35 catches coming out of the backfield.
From the 15. Roethlisberger throws, and that is complete. Inside the 10 is Marcus Wheaton. Wrapped up by Kyle Arrington. Talked about that wild card race. Kansas City holding on to a 4-point lead in the fourth quarter at home against Cleveland. The Jets with that 1 touchdown lead against New England, and Pittsburgh trying to claw its way back against the Ravens. Second and 3. D'Angelo Williams, 149 total yards today. Roethlisberger throwing this side of the field, incomplete, penalty marker. That's Jimmy Smith all over Marcus Wheaton.
And he's not even looking at the ref, arguing with the ref. There's
Pass
no
interference.
discussion.
Defense number 22. Since that penalty occurred in the end zone, the ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
Down here at the bottom of the screen, Jimmy Smith, just the fade route, a little stutter move at the top of the route there, and you can see both arms extend for Jimmy Smith, giving the Steelers first and goal at the 1.
Roethlisberger spreads the field on first and goal. 3 tight ends on the field for Pittsburgh. Quick pass, intercepted, picked off by Jimmy Smith. Smith up the sideline, and he is going to go. We have a penalty marker down back at the goal line.
Offside. Defense number 91. Line up in the neutral zone. That penalty past the distance to the goal. Replay. Second down.
Courtney Upshaw, Craig Rolstad says, lined up in the neutral zone. And he did.
Jimmy Smith was on the outside. He's going to let the receiver go. Kendrick Lewis is the one that drives up and is able to knock it out. Just trying to get Antonio Brown. You see Lewis come up and knock it away. Smith, knowing that's what they're trying to do, recognizing what the route combination was, he lets the fade go, and he's there in position to get the tip ball and take it the distance for the touchdown. But Upshaw, with his foot over the line of scrimmage, brings it all back.
We have talked about penalties which have been costly to the Ravens all day long. That might turn out to be a killer. First and goal. D'Angelo Williams tripped up, lost a yard. It'll be second and goal from the 2. Brendan Trollock, number 28. Hit him first.
Really, what an unbelievable turn of events right there. You're talking about Baltimore with a 17-point lead. Instead, now Pittsburgh is in position to make this a 1-score deficit.
D'Angelo Williams, right side, looking for the touchdown, and he got it. His second of the day.
Will Johnson's the lead blocker on this. See Spate, the tight end, trying to seal the edge on Upshaw. Will Johnson comes out. Makes contact on Will Hill. Giving D'Angelo Williams the room and the space to get around the edge.
Wow, instead of 27-10 Baltimore with 7 minutes to play, It's now 20-17 Baltimore. Don't go away. $80 yards, 8 plays in just over 4 minutes time. DeAngelo Williams with his second touchdown run of the day. And the Steelers have closed to within 3 of Baltimore. 6.5 to play. And Clay is going to run this one out of the end zone. Across the 20. And his forward progress is going to be marked about the 24-yard line. We'll be back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by national mortgage lender Quicken Loans, home by Refi Power, and by Verizon. Better matters.
And here's the mistakes in the second half, the penalties for the Ravens. 2 pass interference calls on the first touchdown drive. That one on Jimmy Smith. This one on Kendrick Lewis, setting up the first score. Another pass interference call on Jimmy Smith. And then the offsides right there by Upshaw that brings back the 100-yard interception return.
Meanwhile, here's DeVoris Allen. And Allen out to about the 37.5-yard line for a first down.
Well, if you look at the penalties, the Ravens have 12 penalties for 121 yards, but also tack on that 100-yard interception return they got brought back. You can see why the Steelers were able to get back in this game in the second half.
See, Mike Mitchell has gone to the turf. And being tended to, Robert Golden replaces him.
Listen.
Allen again. Great move. Allen across the 45 and out to the 48. Looks like it'll be enough for another Baltimore first down. Let's get you back to New York. JB and Bart.
After being spanked 38-0 2 weeks ago,
The defense stands tall. Cam Newton drops back looking for Greg Olsen. Incomplete. It's all mathematic right now with 1:44 to go. Atlanta leads 17-13.
Carolina will fall from the ranks of the unbeaten. Back to Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, and Jamie Erdahl.
All right, guys, thank you.
Sit high.
Carolina going on the road and falling to Atlanta. Meanwhile, here's Terrence West. West across midfield. Close to the Pittsburgh 46-yard line. And in addition to the first downs here, Baltimore taking time off the clock. Look at the wild card picture. The Jets and New England tied at 20. Kansas City with the lead at home in the last 3 minutes.
Well, Greg, you just brought up the fact that the Ravens are using up some of this clock, get the thing moving. You have to remember, going back to the start of the second half, the Steelers used 1 timeout on that first possession, used the second timeout on the second possession. So now we're only down to 1. So this time becomes very valuable as we wind down.
This is Terrence West. Inside the 45 to the 44. And that clock now very much the enemy of the Pittsburgh Steelers as we come up on 4 minutes to play in regulation. Pittsburgh kicker Chris Boswell, the author of 2 51-yard field goals this season long. Will Ben Roethlisberger give him the chance?
Well, and that's the thing. If you're the Ravens right now, yes, you want to get the touchdown, make it a 2-possession game, but it's also important to use up the clock, get into field goal range.
Stephon Tuitt with the big stop on Terrence West.
Now you just got to pin them down there. You're able to get that first down and move it down in there, get a field goal, and then you're forcing the Steelers to have to go for a touchdown instead of a field goal that could potentially tie it. Huge third down stop by the Steelers.
And here comes the biggest punt of the day for the Pro Bowl punter Sam Cook. Antonio Brown is back at his 10. Very high. Bouncing it, rolling toward the end zone, and the Ravens can't cut it short before it goes in for the touchback. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. Gives us an opportunity to remind you, coming up, the Subway post-game show. JB and the guys back in New York for all the latest NFL scores, highlights, and analysis, all coming up on the Subway post-game show.
Well, they're going to have a lot of good stuff to talk about as the Jets and New England are tied up with about 30 seconds to go in that game. Cleveland and Kansas City still close, and of course the Steelers now with the ball trailing by 3 with 2:55 to go.
Ben Roethlisberger, 80 yards away and under 3 minutes to play. Over the middle, that's Brown. Out of bounds just across the 20. That will be more than a 1 or 2 yard pickup.
Antonio Brown working across the field from right to left for Ben Roethlisberger. Mosley there forcing him out of bounds. As you said, Greg, keeping that to just a 3-yard gain.
Roethlisberger again, a little quick pitch over the middle, and this is Marcus Wheaton. And Wheaton shakes a tackler and gets enough for a first down across the 40 out to the 42.
The Ravens that time rolling coverage over to Martavis Bryant's side, not wanting to get beat over the top with a big play, getting soft on this side. Got Jimmy Smith matched up one-on-one with Antonio Brown, but because of that, you have the underneath routes, the crossing routes that the Steelers have used the last 2 plays.
On first down, Roethlisberger going down back at the 32. '91, Courtney Upshaw coming off the right side.
Villanueva getting beat low on the sack.
Second and 18. Little screen, D'Angelo Williams. And D'Angelo Williams is wrapped up as he crosses the 35. Lardarius Webb, the first to hit him, and we hit the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play in Baltimore. And the Ravens hang on. But remember, the Subway post-game show. The guys back in New York getting ready with scores, highlights, and analysis, all coming up. The Subway post-game show. Pittsburgh, the best 2-minute offense in the NFL. 85 points scored in the last 2 minutes of a half. That's the most in the NFL. 3rd and 15. Roethlisberger deep down the sideline. Dive is incomplete. Intended for Martavis Bryant.
There's a little bumping going on down the sideline with Bryant and Jimmy Smith, causing Bryant to stumble those last 5 yards. He couldn't catch his feet. You see their hand-to-hand combat. Good no call because both players were pushing off on one another.
And here's Roethlisberger and the Steelers on 4th down. They need the Baltimore 48-yard line for a first down. Then going to go deep down the other side. It is incomplete. Intended for Marcus Wheaton, broken up by Sharice Wright.
Down the left sideline to Bryant on 3rd down, on 4th down to Wheaton down the right sideline. Good defense by Sharice Wright, getting his hand in there to disrupt that pass.
Trent, you cannot say enough about this Baltimore Ravens team today.
Well, it's been tremendous. The game plan they had coming in, the execution they had in the first half, the way they put Mallett in position to have success, and then having the ability here in the second half to hold on and get the plays when they needed it.
Pittsburgh can only stop the clock once with a timeout. Allen wrapped up. by Cameron Hayward, and they will use a timeout here.
Here's the sack on second down to Roethlisberger. Man-to-man coverage here, but watch the tight end, Jesse James. He's on a corner route, and there is no one in the area. Nobody covers James on the corner route. They drop him, leaving the entire side of the field open. The problem is Roethlisberger was under pressure, so even though he was looking for some of those underneath routes, that type of pressure doesn't allow the quarterback to work through the progression. Roethlisberger missing a big gain that could have been a game changer, Greg.
By the way, the lone undefeated team in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers, has gone down to defeat at the hands of the Atlanta Falcons 20-13. Hear coaches like John Harbaugh talk about playing for pride. The Ravens have done that today. So many standout performances for the Ravens. You start with their defense, you progress to Allen, you move on to Ryan Mallett.
You know, we talked about at the top of this the number of players they have on injured reserve throughout the entire team. It leads the National Football League, and then you start talking about the number of starting players they have on injured reserve, from your quarterback, your running back, your lead receiver, your left tackle, your center, your tight end. Terrell Suggs on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, it's been devastated, and Coach Harbaugh didn't want to talk about it. He said, you know what, we're going to play well with the guys that we have, and they've done that here today.
They're going to let this wind down and take a timeout. Mark Trestman, the offensive coordinator, explaining things to Ryan Mallett, who is going to be treated really nicely in his new town here in Baltimore.
You know, coming in here, I don't know if he would have expected making the start that he was going to have 41 pass attempts, but 28 of 41, 274 yards, a touchdown. The key, though, for me is 0 interceptions.
That AFC wildcard race, the Jets and New England have gone to overtime. 15 seconds, all that remains between Kansas City. 17-13 win over Cleveland. This is Allen. And Allen wrestled to a stop at about the 37. So now the punting unit will come on, and there won't be a whole lot of time left on the clock for the Pittsburgh Steelers once they get their hands on the football.
Well, it's going to be under 10 seconds. I know by the time they get the ball snapped, the ball travels in the air, whether it bounces or a fair catch. They're going to have to go the length of the field here in fewer than 10 seconds.
If Sam Cook does his job, no way does Antonio Brown get a chance to run this one back.
You may want to just punt it into the second level of the stadium and not even let it get close.
And
second charge timeout.
Timeout is taken by the Baltimore Ravens
timeout
with 12 seconds to play. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs have won and secure their hold on a wild card spot in the AFC. Well, what a job Andy Reid has done. That team started 1-5.
You just have to shake your head at what they've been able to do. I know the strength of schedule changed for them once they got to the second half, but that doesn't matter. You've still got to execute. Alex Smith has played well, and Kansas City has really putting the pressure on Denver now on Monday night to come up with a win against Cincinnati, because that division's still up in the air. So Kansas City, as you said, Andy Reid doing a heck of a job turning around.
Cook, sky high, and into the end zone for the touchback with 4 seconds to play. And John Harbaugh gathering his troops out on the field, a pat on the back, and says one more.
Well, from the 20-yard line, all you're going to see is the craziness of a dozen laterals or so, or at least the attempt to. So
there are 2 Baltimore Ravens way back on the other side of the 50-yard line. Ladarius Webb and Kendrick Lewis. That pass over the middle and the lateral, and another one. And this one thrown to the far side of the field where DeAngelo Williams picks it up and he will go down. And what a win for the Baltimore Ravens here at M&T Bank Stadium today.
Can't say enough about the job that Ryan Mallett did today, coming in, getting the start after 12 days being with the Ravens and connecting on 28 of 41, 274 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions in leading the Ravens to the victory today.
And the Kansas City Chiefs, with this Pittsburgh loss, now clinch an AFC playoff spot. John Harbaugh looked us right in the eye and said, we're going to play hard, we're going to play well, and the injured reserve list really doesn't matter.
Well, and they did, especially the execution in the first half. The second half they came out, they had some problems with penalties, giving the Steelers some life by giving them 1st and goal on 2 pass interference calls in the end zone, but ultimately holding on and getting the win. Great game plan by Mark Trestman, the offensive coordinator, putting that man, Ryan Mallett, in position.
That man could run for office here in Baltimore. 2017 Ravens up next, the Subway post-game show.